The wrestling world just witnessed one of the most savage verbal demolitions in recent memory when Cody Rhodes absolutely destroyed the Vision in a promenade attack that left everyone stunned. What started as a typical backstage segment quickly transformed into a masterclass of psychological warfare as the American Nightmare unleashed a torrent of verbal destruction that cut deeper than any finishing move could ever hope to achieve. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now because you won't want to miss a single moment of what went down. The tension had been building for weeks, but nobody expected it to explode like this. Cody Rhodes stood there with the microphone in his hand and you could see the fire in his eyes before he even opened his mouth. The Vision had been running his mouth for days talking about how he was the future of wrestling and how Cody represented everything that was holding the business back. Big mistake. Huge mistake. Because when you poke the American Nightmare you better be ready for what comes back at you, and the Vision clearly wasn't prepared for the absolute decimation that was about to rain down on him. Cody started slow and calculated. He looked the Vision dead in the eyes and told him that talking a big game on social media and actually backing it up in the ring were two completely different things. The crowd could feel something special was coming and the anticipation was electric. Then Cody shifted gears and the real assault began. He tore into the Vision's entire career piece by piece, exposing every shortcoming and every failed opportunity with surgical precision. He reminded everyone watching that while the Vision was busy posting selfies and workout videos, Cody was out there bleeding for this business and earning every single thing he ever accomplished. The verbal onslaught continued as Cody brought up the Vision's track record in big matches. He didn't just mention the losses, he dissected them. He talked about how the Vision crumbled under pressure every single time the lights got bright and the stakes got high. He mentioned specific moments where the Vision had the chance to step up and become someone special, but instead he folded like a cheap tent in a windstorm. The comparisons were brutal and relentless. Cody painted a picture of a man who was all flash and no substance, all talk and no walk. But Cody wasn't done yet. He went after the Vision's credibility, questioning whether anyone in the locker room actually respected him or if they just tolerated him because they had to. He suggested that the Vision was the kind of guy who needed a dozen takes to cut a decent promo and who couldn't improvise his way out of a paper bag. The insults kept coming, each one more cutting than the last. Cody said the Vision's wrestling style was as generic as his personality and that watching him work was like watching paint dry if that paint was also somehow boring and predictable. The crowd was eating it up and you could see the Vision starting to crack. His confidence was evaporating right before everyone's eyes. Cody noticed it too, and that's when he really turned up the heat. He started talking about legacy and what it means to actually matter in this industry. He said that when people look back at this era they'll remember names like his and they'll remember the blood, sweat and tears it took to get there. But the Vision? He'd be a footnote at best. A guy who had all the tools but none of the heart. A cautionary tale about wasted potential and inflated ego. The American Nightmare then brought up the Vision's recent string of losses and performances that could generously be described as underwhelming. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He laid out the facts in devastating detail, reminding everyone that championships aren't won with tweets and Instagram posts. They're won by warriors who are willing to sacrifice everything and leave it all in the ring night after night. Cody questioned whether the Vision even understood what that meant or if he was just playing wrestler while real competitors were out there doing the actual work. Things got even more intense when Cody started comparing their respective journeys. He talked about his own path through wrestling, how he left everything behind to prove he could make it on his own merit. He spoke about the struggles and the doubts and the moments where everything seemed impossible. Then he looked at the Vision and said that the Vision wouldn't have survived even one day of that journey. He called him soft, pampered and completely disconnected from what it actually takes to be great in this business. The words hit like sledgehammer shots and the Vision had no comeback, no response, no defense. Cody's attack then shifted to something even more personal. He questioned the Vision's commitment to the craft, suggesting that he viewed wrestling as a stepping stone rather than a destination. He accused him of using the business to build a brand instead of dedicating himself to becoming the best wrestler he could possibly be. The accusations were damning and they clearly struck a nerve. The Vision tried to interject, tried to defend himself, but Cody shut him down immediately, telling him that he'd had his time to talk and now it was time to listen and learn. The psychological warfare continued as Cody broke down the Vision's movesets, calling it a collection of stolen spots from better wrestlers who actually knew how to tell a story. He said the Vision's matches were like watching a highlight reel with no substance connecting the dots. There was no psychology, no build, no payoff, just a bunch of cool-looking moves that ultimately meant nothing. He compared it to watching someone play a video game instead of actually wrestling, and the comparison was devastatingly accurate. But perhaps the most brutal moment came when Cody addressed the Vision's future. He didn't wish him luck or offer encouragement. Instead, he painted a bleak picture of a career that would peter out in mediocrity. He said the Vision would be one of those guys who looks back in 20 years wondering what went wrong, never realizing that the problem was staring back at him in the mirror the entire time. He said the Vision would be working independent shows trying to recapture glory he never actually had, telling anyone who would listen about that one time he almost made it big. The crowd was completely invested in every word and you could hear a pin drop whenever Cody paused for effect. He had everyone hanging on his every syllable and the Vision looked like he wanted the floor to open up and swallow him whole. This wasn't just a promo, it was a public execution. Cody was systematically destroying everything the Vision had built or thought he had built, exposing it all as hollow and meaningless. Cody then brought up specific incidents where the Vision had disrespected veterans or acted entitled backstage. He didn't name names, but the implications were clear. He painted a picture of someone who thought he was bigger than the business, someone who didn't respect the history or the tradition that made everything possible. He contrasted that with his own approach, talking about how he learned from legends and earned his spot through respect and hard work rather than demanding it because of his social media following. The verbal assault reached its peak when Cody looked directly into the camera and addressed not just the Vision but everyone watching. He said that this was a lesson in reality. He said that in wrestling, just like in life, you can't fake it. Eventually your true character shows through, and eventually you have to back up your words with action. He said the Vision represented everything wrong with the modern era of wrestling: all style, no substance, all marketing, no authenticity. And then he turned back to the Vision and told him that their match would prove everything he just said beyond any shadow of doubt. The Vision finally tried to mount a response, but it was weak and unconvincing. Everything Cody had said was still hanging in the air, and no amount of bravado could erase the damage that had been done. The Vision's credibility had been shattered, his confidence had been broken, and his entire persona had been exposed as a facade. Cody had accomplished in 10 minutes what most wrestlers couldn't do in a year of feuding. He had gotten inside his opponent's head completely and totally. As the segment came to an end, Cody delivered one final devastating blow. He told the Vision that he almost felt sorry for him because the Vision genuinely seemed to believe his own hype. He said it was sad watching someone so delusional, so disconnected from reality that they couldn't see the truth even when it was spelled out for them. He said their upcoming match wouldn't be competitive, it would be educational. The Vision would learn what it actually means to step in the ring with someone who lives and breathes this business. And after it was over, the Vision would have two choices: accept reality and try to actually improve, or keep living in fantasy land and fade into obscurity. The aftermath of this verbal destruction has been the talk of every wrestling forum, every podcast, and every social media platform. Fans are debating whether Cody went too far or whether the Vision deserved every word of it. Analysts are breaking down the promo frame by frame, examining the techniques Cody used and the psychological damage he inflicted. Other wrestlers are weighing in, with some praising Cody's honesty and others suggesting he crossed a line. But regardless of where anyone stands on the ethics of it all, one thing is absolutely certain: this promo changed the dynamic of their entire feud. The Vision now faces an impossible task. He has to somehow recover from this public humiliation and find a way to compete against someone who just proved he's on a completely different level mentally and verbally. The match they have coming up was already going to be important, but now it carries even more weight. The Vision needs a convincing victory to salvage any credibility, but after what Cody just did, that seems almost impossible. How do you beat someone who just got that deep inside your head? How do you perform when you know everyone is waiting to see if you'll prove him right? From a storytelling perspective, this is exactly what wrestling should be. Real emotion, real stakes, and real consequences. Cody didn't rely on scripted catchphrases or rehearsed lines. He spoke from the heart and delivered something authentic and raw. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he knows how to cut a promo that matters. He elevated this feud from just another match on the card to something people genuinely care about. He created investment and anticipation and made everyone want to see what happens next. The wrestling community is now split on what this means for both men moving forward. Some believe Cody just cemented himself as one of the best talkers in the business while simultaneously burying the Vision beyond repair. Others think the Vision could use this as motivation to prove everyone wrong and have the match of his life. The tension is at an all-time high, and that's exactly where you want it to be before a big showdown. Cody understood the assignment and he delivered in spectacular fashion. Looking at the bigger picture, this verbal assault also serves as a statement to the entire roster. Cody was sending a message that he's not playing games anymore. He's tired of pretenders and social media stars who think they can coast on looks and followers. He's drawing a line in the sand between those who are serious about the craft and those who just want the spotlight. It's a bold stance, and one that will likely create more conflict and more compelling television going forward. The technical execution of this promo was flawless. Cody's pacing was perfect, knowing exactly when to pause for effect and when to rapid-fire his attacks. His voice control was masterful, switching from calm and measured to intense and aggressive at just the right moments. He maintained eye contact throughout, refusing to break character or show any weakness. It was a clinic in professional wrestling promo work, and anyone aspiring to be great on the microphone should study this segment carefully. What makes this even more impressive is that Cody managed to be completely brutal and honest without resorting to cheap shots or crossing ethical lines. He attacked the Vision's professional credibility and work ethic, but didn't go after personal issues or family. He kept it within the boundaries of wrestling while still making it feel intensely real. That's a difficult balance to strike, and Cody nailed it perfectly. He proved you can destroy someone verbally while still maintaining respect for the business and the audience. The ripple effects of this confrontation will be felt for weeks, if not months. The Vision's entire trajectory has been altered, and he'll now be defined by how he responds to this moment. Does he crumble under the pressure, or does he find a way to rise to the occasion? That uncertainty is what makes wrestling compelling, and Cody just created the perfect setup for either outcome. If the Vision wins, it becomes a redemption story. If he loses, it confirms everything Cody said. Either way, the story has legs and people will be talking about it. In the end, what we witnessed was a reminder of why Cody Rhodes is one of the most important figures in wrestling today. He understands psychology, storytelling, and how to create moments that resonate with audiences. This wasn't just another promo, it was a defining moment that will be remembered and referenced for years to come. The Vision walked into that confrontation thinking he could stand toe-to-toe with the American Nightmare, and he learned the hard way that some battles are lost before they even begin. Cody Rhodes just delivered a masterclass in verbal warfare, and the entire wrestling world is still reeling from the impact. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you don't miss any of the fallout from this incredible moment, and stay tuned for all the latest updates as this story continues to develop.